Hey everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers presented by Mortgage CS. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to start your home buying process today. Company NMLS ID number 1464766. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me today, the star of the Anthony Gargano show, the one and only JP Zapata. JP, what has been up with the Gargano show the last few days? How's it been going?
It's been a lot of fun. We had Jay Wright on today, which is
very cool.
Really cool to have him on. Just kind of obviously after that Knicks and Sixers series, we got to get his thoughts on it.
Yeah, of course.
He was a conflicted man because obviously he loves the Sixers, grew up a Sixers fan, but those are his kids. There's his kids there.
Oh, Kyle Lowry was on the team. Yeah, come on.
It was
at least we got one.
Couple assistant coaches on the Sixers were part of Nova as well. So it's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to talking a little more hockey. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
We'll get to that.
I'll tell you though, a lot of times I will make the case just to make myself feel better. I can enjoy the playoffs as a whole more if the Flyers aren't in it. Yeah. Obviously, I want the Flyers in the playoffs. But there's a lot of times I'm like, you know what? I just get to sit down, enjoy some stress-free hockey, just really, really, enjoy the game without, rooting for the Flyers, freaking out about every call, everything, I'm just having a lot of trouble this year. It's 4 straight years the Flyers haven't made the playoffs.
Right.
They haven't really made a run since 2010. The 08 season, they go to the East Final. 2010, obviously, they go to the Cup Final. Been to the second round a couple of times since then.
I know.
2020 in the bubble, okay. The playoffs started a few months after the season just got
Dude, they should have beaten the Islanders, though. That was
they go
frustrating.
7, and it was... But, wasn't real, that whole thing was just so weird. I just really, really miss Flyers playoff hockey.
Man.
I miss the stress of it. I just sitting down and just having that nervous energy for the entire every minute, just having that nervous energy because you never know when something's gonna go wrong or when someone's just gonna score that big goal, that series-defining goal, whatever it is. I just am really missing it right now, man. I'm feeling like a little kid with my face pressed up against the glass. I just...
No, the
playoffs have been good.
You're the Squidward meme. You're looking down at SpongeBob and Patrick playing, and you're just they're oh no.
The games have been good. There've been a few overtime games recently. We're getting, Colorado-Dallas is going to be a great series. We're 1-1 going to Denver now. The Rangers Carolina series, it's 3-0, but we've had 2 overtime games. There's been some good stuff going on. We have 1-1, a couple of blowouts, ton of fights in the Boston Florida series. It's good stuff. I'm just
I'm with you, man.
Man, I miss the Flyers in the playoffs. It just sucks.
Well, I had this conversation with Cuz, growing up, the Flyers were consistently in the playoffs, dude.
There was never a question of are they going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's kind of changed because back in those days, Flyers were consistently good. The Sixers were consistently mediocre. And you look at it now, people want to talk more about the Sixers. Obviously, Sixers have been good. You have Joel Embiid. But the Flyers, it's just they after you mentioned, pretty much after 2010, they kind of took this slow dip to where we're at now. Where
I guess 2011, they were good all year, fell apart at the end. First series goes 7. It never should have. They were so much better than Buffalo. And then they just give up and quit against Boston in the second round. Trade everyone. 2012, second round, they lose in 5, but at least the first round was so much fun against Pittsburgh. But,
hell yeah.
They haven't made a run in 14 years since they've been to a conference final.
These are lifetimes, Bill.
And I'm just no, I think about when I was a kid. like 95, they're in the conference final. 97, they go to the cup final. It was 2000, they're in the conference final. 2004, they're in the conference final. Like every year they went.
I know.
They went to the second, third round all the time, and now they're 4 years consecutively out of the playoffs. 5 of the last 6. Like, yeah, they had the little bit in the early 90s leading up to the Lindros era where they missed, I think, 5 straight years. Like, I don't really remember that. It's basically been I remember when they missed in 06, 07, it was like, wow, they missed the playoffs for the first time. And then it was like a 16-year string. They only missed that one time. And now it's just status quo. They're not a playoff team. And I'm just feeling it today. Like, watching some of these games, they're good. And I'm like, God damn it, I want this to be my team.
I know, man. And like we talked about it during Wednesday's show, like the Flyers can match most of these teams with the physicality, but you know what they're missing, man. And this is what we're hoping Danny and Keith are trying to bring to this team.
I know why they have to do what they're doing.
I know.
And they have to figure out a way to acquire this high-end talent, whether it's in this draft, next year's draft, free agency, trades, whatever it is. They have to figure out a way to do it. They are just simply not ready to win yet. They took a big step this year and still missed the playoffs. And when you look at the contenders, it's like, yeah, even if they made it, there's a huge gap between those couple of teams in the East that are actually good and then the teams that did make it or were battling with the Flyers. Like the Penguins that didn't make it, the Islanders that did, the Caps that did. These are bad teams.
I know.
These are not good teams. And there's a huge, and they all could have gotten in. It was just like, yeah, someone's going to, but there's a big gap. I get why they're doing what they're doing. They probably need to go further, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. It's just like, God damn, I want to watch Flyers playoff hockey. It was like a given for so long, and now having, even when they make it, it's like, yeah, they play 6 games in the first round and go home every time. Like, yeah. It's just a bummer.
Well, it's funny because this morning on the Cuz show, like the theme was a lot of the coordinators because obviously yesterday Vic and Kellen were talking to everybody. Cuz asked us some of your favorite assistant coaches in all time. So I went Mike Nikolak because, dude, like imagine being the assistant coach of those Broad Street Bully teams. Like Fred Shiro, God bless his soul. He was awesome, but he was also kind of like introverted. And like that team had so many personalities. And you think about it, like those teams, that's how you start off this franchise.
And Shiro was one of the first guys who introduced assistant coaches. Like that
he was the first full-time assistant.
Yeah, like that was like an innovation of his, kind of, sort of. And so that's a great pick, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's like on runs is where you really get to know those guys. Like, I mean, Jesus, the end of season game against Pittsburgh before that 2012 series, like you're just looking at Craig Berube like, oh my God, he's gonna kill somebody. Like it was ridiculous, and it was like that's just the way it was back. Like Peter Laviolette, my God, we came to love him because of the fire he showed there, the fire he showed. I mean, my God. Calling the timeouts and just getting the guys going. Like, that's when you really get to know the coaches and really get to see what they're made of.
Oh, my God, yeah.
We just haven't had it in so freaking long.
I know, man. And now Craig Berube's about to get paid, Bill.
He is, man. Everyone thinks he's going to... Everyone thinks he's going to Toronto. It's funny what's going to happen. Like Sheldon Keefe, it doesn't look like he's going to end up in Pittsburgh. That would have been really fun.
That's crazy, man.
I think New Jersey's going to interview him. This whole thing is just really, really fun. I'll tell you what I have been in the mood for, though. I've been in a big Blockbuster mood, dude.
Oh, awesome.
I'm telling you, I watched...
like old school Blockbuster? Blockbuster movies?
I love 90s Blockbusters the most.
Okay.
I watched 1998 Godzilla.
Dude, what?
I don't think I've seen that like since I was 10 years old.
Okay.
I loved it so much because it's so... Like, I love bad movies. That's what I'm all about. I'm going to try to convince my wife to go see The Fall Guy tonight.
Okay.
That's what I love big dumb movies. That's what I'm in the mood for. But that does get us kind of talking about blockbuster trades that we're going to talk about in just a second. But first, I got to tell you about TrueMark Financial. And JP has a little story he could tell here as well.
Yeah.
But listen, we had a chance to meet with the good people from TrueMark a couple of days ago.
Yeah, Kristen and Megan.
Yeah, it was really, really cool getting
Very
to
helpful.
just get a better understanding of what it is they do at a credit union. You know, I do the reads here, and I'll tell you, the differences, and you can get the better rates, the lower fees, better return on savings, the flexible options, the same digital tools and tech you need from your banking partner, all that stuff. I think it's huge that they're based in the Philly area, 24 locations, headquartered in Fort Washington, so you know that they're serving this community.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of credit unions, though, and there's a lot of different ways you could go. I think the key part was like them explaining the difference between them and a big bank. And
Right.
You bank at a bank. Well, you did. One that I was a customer at for a few years, and you woke up one morning, and what happened?
Dude, Saturday morning, I wake up, just checking the fines. Just got to, just on a random weekend morning, you just want to check, see how, or make sure everything's good, make sure no one's, spending thousands of dollars at DoorDash, right? So I check, and dude, they give me a message that my bank got bought out. I'm like, you hear the news, right? Like big banks are, they're closing out, and people are losing money. Luckily, I have over $250,000 in the bank account on that day. But dude, it's really scary. But yeah, they did get bought out. I was fine, but Kristen and Megan, when they were in here from TrueMark, they kind of explained the situation there, and you kind of
might be a little different than what you heard on the news.
But you kind of think about, all right, well, maybe this credit union stuff, maybe they're on to something here. I got to check this out.
It really, really seems like, I know I've said, I've used the no-brainer line before, but to at least, have something going on, I highly recommend using TrueMark Financial. So head over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's TRUMARK.com/PHLY. Federally insured by the NCUA. Yeah, so I guess maybe the most pressing thing going on right now that isn't just trying to figure out who's walking. This studio is like the worst for people with ADD.
We have Brandon Brooks walking in.
Yeah, all just like, oh my God, is this like happening right now? I'm like transitioning, like, we're going to talk about Brady Tkachuk. Like, no, we're not. No, we're not. Anyway, this studio, I prefer this studio, but it is the worst for
I know,
like having ADD. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, the sports are things. Oh, people are walking in. Like, anyway, so some rumors going on, and that's the Blockbuster thing was just a dumb way to transition to this. It. There's some rumors out there that Brady Tkachuk could be on the move from Ottawa. They hire Travis Green as the coach. This team is seriously underperformed for a couple of years. I mean, they were supposed to be one of the teams that takes the step this year, and it turns out, no, they're still really bad, despite like maybe playing their two best games of the season against the Flyers. But of course, if I'm them, I'm not trading the dude who isn't 25 yet and has put up like 35 plus goals the last couple of years. But there's a lot of stupid franchises out there, and Ottawa could very well continue being one of them. And I got to tell you, it would be real exciting to go out and get Brady Tkachuk. I don't know what it would take, and we got to remember he's not Matt. Like, I know. As of this point, he has not established himself as a 100-point guy. Like one of these, he hasn't played in the playoffs yet. But he can also fight so David Pastrnak too. He absolutely. He gets in a lot more fights. But I would love to see Brady Tkachuk in orange and black, and that gets me to like Ryan Quigley's article he wrote for Broad Street Hockey earlier this week about some potential trade candidates and what it might take to get something done. Okay. And I wonder if they're looking, like, if I'm Ottawa and I'm looking to take that step, it's not futures I'm looking for. It's right now, guys. It's dudes in the here and now who can improve this team. And the Flyers, I don't know how much of that they have outside of Travis Konechny. Maybe they think it's an intangible thing that they need to bolster the room. That's what's missing. It's not so much skill as it is leadership. Right. And then you look at maybe a Scott Lawton is something that they'd be interested in. But the package they could or couldn't put together for Brady Tkachuk, they have to be able to figure something out. the deeper we go into this off season, the more I just think they do need to make some changes. Like running it back and just kind of having the same team, maybe minus a couple of guys. Like maybe they trade Lawton, maybe they trade Risto, whatever. I need to see a hockey trade this summer. Like I think you need to bring in somebody who's like, he's going to be a major piece when this team is good.
Well, I mean, Torts kind of said it towards the end of the season. Like, you know, I forget what game it was, but like he goes to the press pretty much saying like, you know, some guys just don't know how to play in these type of situations, and you're thinking to yourself like, well, that's not good, Torts. We need to find those guys who do play well in those type of situations. And so, like, I agree with you, Bill. Like, I do think something needs to get shaken up. I don't think they're going to trade away Lotz, TK. You know, they're not going to trade all those players, but you know, bringing in someone in to kind of shake it up, maybe bring a little bit of high-end talent that we talk about, especially with the shot, especially on that power play, that would definitely be big because, look, I think the foundation was set last year, right? Like, George did a really good job of setting that foundation, but now, like, let's find that top-end talent that we keep talking about.
I really like the direction they're going in culturally.
Yeah.
I do think that stuff matters. That said, man, it takes a while to learn to win. Like, there's always stages teams go through. Like, it's very rare that a young team is like, yeah, we're good to go. Like, and then they win the cup. It usually, yes, Chicago did it. Like, I think the first year they made the playoffs, they go to the West Final.
Yeah.
The next year they win the cup against the Flyers. And like, they bring in a Marian Hossa. They bring in Brian Campbell. Like, there were vets on that team. They just had a lot of younger guys as well. Like, looking at what the Flyers are building, man, if Michkov is going to be the centerpiece, Oliver Bonk, whoever they draft this year, we're going to be waiting a while. And I don't know if I love that plan.
Right.
Like, okay, 6 years from now is when we're going to, like, that's when it's going to start. Like, I don't see that being the best. You need to start the timeline a little sooner. I know they're not going to be cup contenders in the next couple of years. I think, though, they do need to kind of get things moving, especially if you're not going to be able to trade guys like Sanheim, especially if you are going to re-sign a Travis Konechny. Like, that means you have to, like, win in their window. Otherwise, what's the point here? Like, what are we paying these dudes for if it's not to, like, help advance this thing?
Yeah, and not to mention, Bill, it's so hard to rebuild in this league. I mean, like, we talk about Ottawa.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's loving Florida, but let's not forget Florida, how many years they had top lottery picks. They finally got it together. It is so hard to rebuild in this league. So it's important that the Flyers do take those proper steps here. You don't want to wind up being like the Senators. We don't want 5 years down the line talking about, oh, well, rebuild again.
No, you look at the Buffalo Sabres. Like,
That's another one.
10 straight top 10 picks. They're yet to make the playoffs. They haven't made the playoffs since 2011. Like, that's horrendous.
Yeah.
I do not want to be that team. But obviously, it would be nice if they were to get some top 10 picks along the way. This is going to take a while, and I'm on board with that. But God damn, show me something that things are like moving forward. And I get, like, nothing can happen.
I know.
We're not in a time where things are going to start happening. But I'm watching that Toronto press conference today, and talk about taking advantage of dumb teams. Like, their GM, Brad Treliving, says, we need to find a way to do the hard, unsexy things longer, and they're not related to skill. Yeah, you probably need to be a little bit of a tougher team. And maybe this is more than anything just kind of calling out Mitch Marner and basically saying, yeah, we're trading Mitch Marner. But if they think, like, they need to go out and get tougher, like, that's the problem, take advantage of them. Really just take advantage. This is one of those, like, Pete Chiarelli situations where every day you should be just like, hey, you up? Like, every single day you call him and see if he wants to do something fucking stupid.
We talking NHL trades? We talking Friday night pickups here?
We are doing both. Like, this is what they need to be doing until, like, they just come to a dumb conclusion.
You're right,
like,
dude.
If you watch that series and your number one takeaway wasn't like, man, their defensemen can't get the pucks to the forwards. It's like, no, man, they need to hit more. Like, okay, we might be able to send them, like, Rasmus Ristolainen and Scott Lawton and get Mitch fucking Marner. Like, and as much as, like, I don't know if Mitch Marner's the answer here, maybe he's just a guy who can't play in the playoffs. I will say, John Tortorella believes this is why we're doing this. Like, oh, I believe I can teach guys to play this way. Well, then teach Mitch Marner to do it. Like, if they think that, like, oh, yeah, we need to, like, be tougher and hit more and have more, like, intangibles. All right, man, Risto and Lawton, get it done. Like, yeah. Then absolutely find a way to make that happen because they're going to do something stupid.
At least Mitch Marner will help us get the 29th best power play, at the least.
The 29th best power play, the Flyers are in the playoffs right now. If they have the 29th best power play, they're in.
That's true, man.
We're thinking about Owen Tippett $6.2 million as a steal because he has 12 power play goals and the Flyers are in the playoffs.
Literally.
Maybe still playing. Who knows if they get the goaltending. I'm listening to, and like they do need to mix things up there. I said yesterday to Kelly, like, it's a shame Toronto had this season this year because this is the one year there are plenty of excuses. Like Nylander misses the beginning of the series. Mitch Marner or Austin Matthews gets hurt. He gets sick and then he gets a concussion. Like they lose their goalie. Some things just went wrong for them. There are viable excuses for them. They've lost the benefit of the doubt, though. Like, if I was a Toronto fan, even if I'm a smart one, I'm like, I don't care. You have to change something.
Yeah,
this
something
doesn't
drastic
work.
has
Like,
to be changed.
clearly this doesn't work. We need to do something else. You have lost the benefit of the doubt. And because of that, between the just overreactionary way that the Toronto media is, and because, yeah, they do need to change something, even if it's not we win this trade, if they trade any of the core guys, they're losing the trade in terms of, you look at the players on paper and you go, yeah, the other team got like a star player and Toronto didn't. You know, like they're going to lose the trade, but they need to switch things up. We're the intangible team. That's the thing the Flyers are doing. Let's make that trade. Like, even if it's not Marner, I'm just like, this is the example because this is the most front and center thing right now. Bring in a guy who can kind of be the elite player for Michkov when he gets here. Because I'm telling you, I'm starting to believe more and more he might be here this season. Like, it really feels like it's going that way.
I don't think it's just deadlifts. I think there's something to it, Bill. But like that's a really good point because I brought up before, like, listen, the Rangers, when they got Panarin, they were not in a position to win.
Exactly.
And I've always said, like, that blueprint is something the Flyers should follow. And if you look at this current roster right now, a Nylander or a Marner would definitely help your Tippett, your Foresters, your Bobby Brinks. Because, dude, imagine learning from a skill like that on a day-to-day basis. I think it would just be so big. Obviously, look, listen, we're not winning Stanley Cups next year, right? But you're trying to build out the rest of this roster, and that is one way to help build it out, Bill.
It is, and the Flyers are we're going to create a culture, we're going to set this baseline, and then the talent will be the thing we figure out. Whether it's Ottawa, whether it's Toronto, some of these teams, they have the talent, and now they're like, okay, we need this other thing to help us in the playoffs. Do I agree with what they think they need? No, not necessarily, but I want to take advantage of that. Like, I've said the same thing about Buffalo. Like, I think they might be in the mood to do something stupid like trade Owen Power. And I want to be the team that takes advantage of them doing something stupid. Like, I will be your rebound. Absolutely.
But dude, think about it. We're in a great spot because, like, we're not desperate. We're not rushing this process here. And there are teams like your Torontos, like your Buffaloes, like your Ottawas, who could be, feeling that pressure right now from the fan base and from ownership. And they're probably, they might make a dumb move, and the Flyers should be able to take advantage of that.
I'm really hoping that they're able to. What you should take advantage of, it's the Rite Aid vaccination program. That's right. I don't know if that worked, but I think it did. You got to protect yourself and your family by staying up to date on your immunizations. Rite Aid pharmacists are specifically trained, certified immunizers. Most vaccines are no cost with insurance or through government plans like Medicare, Part D. And if you're unsure what vaccines you need, you can get a personalized recommendation from a Rite Aid pharmacist. If you have questions about vaccines, stop in and ask a Rite Aid pharmacist. And you can book a vaccine appointment today. You can schedule for yourself or for your whole family at riteaid.com/schedule. State, age, and health restrictions may apply. Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for details. Rite Aid pharmacists in Pennsylvania can immunize ages 18 plus 1 day for most vaccines and ages 3 plus for flu and COVID-19. Rite Aid pharmacists can vaccinate for COVID, shingles, pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox, and more. You got to visit vaccine centers at Rite Aid. Select Rite Aid stores have a dedicated pharmacist ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions. Have questions on what immunizations you need? Not sure if you're up to date? Feeling nervous to ask questions? A Rite Aid pharmacist will take time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history and discuss any concerns. No questions are too small. Just walk in or schedule an appointment Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State, age, and health restrictions may apply. Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for details. All right, I'm feeling a little more in a hockey mood today. What's happening here?
The
Utah NHL team for now.
Dude, this is bad.
I mean,
I hate that. Like, I would hate to be a Utah hockey fan right now.
I guess it's just this thing seems like it kind of got rushed on them, and they want to get the branding and everything right. But man, like, I just think about the rollout for Seattle and the rollout for Vegas and like how important that was for what they did, and just.
Are you a fan?
You so badly need this to be a success.
Are you a fan of NHL in Utah?
I think it's fine. I mean, I'm all for, like, I want as many teams as possible. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence we had the regular season we did this year now that there's 32 teams. Like, you had a guy hit 69 goals, the most since the lockout. You had 2 guys hit 100 assists. Like, Nathan McKinnon's season. The stars are really shining in this league right now. Sidney Crosby looks the best he's ever looked. You know, like, he looks like MVP Crosby almost. He's fucking 36 years old. Like, the star players in this league are really standing out, and I think it's because of expansion. Like, suddenly there's 2 more third and fourth lines in the league. That's what, 3, 6, 12 more guys.
That's right.
That weren't NHL, like. There weren't these NHL jobs, and now there are for 2 whole teams. That means some dudes who probably belong in the AHL are playing in the NHL somewhere.
Yeah.
And that helps dudes stand out. There's going to be more power play opportunities. There's going to be just more, you're at home, you see their fourth line on the ice. Yeah, we're throwing our fourth line out there, or we're throwing our first line out there. There's just more opportunities to score because there's a little bit more of a talent disparity. I think hockey is at a point finally where there's enough skill to fill out these rosters.
Yeah.
Like, you have enough ability that you can fill 30 teams. So if there's 32, 34, dope. Like, that means the stars are really going to stand out, and I think that's what's been happening in the last couple of years. Like, you look a few years back, Jamie Benn wins the Art Ross with like 87 points or something.
Yeah.
Like, now you had 2 guys hit 100 assists. They're not going to win the MVP. You had a dude score 69 goals. He's not even a finalist for MVP. Like, I just think there is a big shift, and that's part of it. So, like, Utah specifically, I don't know what that market is. I think it's a good idea for owners to match up, like, having a hockey team and a basketball team in the same building.
Yeah.
Like, that's good for everyone.
That's smart,
Like,
yeah.
I think that makes you more money.
You stay busy every night.
Yeah, there's at least, like, now there's half as many days where it's empty in the, like, through the spring, really. Like, it's the summer that you have to fill with concerts, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's good for owners to do that.
All right, so here are the name. We'll rattle them out real quick. So we got the Utah Black Diamonds, the Utah Blast, the Utah Blizzard, Utah Canyons, to Utah Caribou, the Utah Freeze, Utah Frost, Utah Fury, Utah Glaciers, Utah Hive, Utah HC, Utah Ice, Utah Mammoth, Utah Mountaineers, Utah Outlaws, Utah Powder, Utah Swarm, Utah Venom. I think that's my favorite.
Oh, man, Utah Powder is so fucking good. That is great. Oh, my God. You get that. You get them going in the playoffs, baby. Powder power. Let's do it. Oh my God.
And then there's the Utah Yeti. That's the last one.
I really like Utah Yeti. I saw a lot of people clowning on Utah Yeti. I just think that's fun.
I just think of the Monsters Inc. Yeti monster.
Yeah. Oh, Utah. I like the team names that don't end in S.
Yeah,
I do
cool.
like that.
But what's a Utah HC?
I think they're just going with hockey club, and I hate that shit.
No,
That's like my favorite thing about the Philadelphia Union is they named their team like an American sports team. Like if you're Real whatever, like Real Salt Lake, like that's a joke. That's like making you a parody of European soccer. Like right away, you're not a major league. Like I think that's so. What's the other one? Like FC
Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, Sporting Kansas City. The Miami one is stupid.
Inter
I think.
Miami.
Yeah, like all that is. That's stupid as shit.
Even from the soccer guy, I hate that.
It's just like that's what they do over there.
Yes.
So let's copy it. It's like, well, no one in America talks this way. So you're setting yourself up to be a parody. It's like you're a minor league.
But that's one of the unique things about American sports.
Yeah,
dude.
this is how we name our teams.
Yeah, I love that aspect of our American sports. Like I hate that the MLS, and like the thing is like a lot of the MLS teams are switching to it. Like they had the team name and then they switched to that. Like Kansas City was the Kansas City Wizards and they switched to sport in Kansas City. So
yeah, it's dumb. Sporting Kansas. What sport? You know how many sports there are? What, you play cricket? Like, what are we doing here?
It is bad.
That drives me nuts. What some of the ones at the top, like the Freeze, I guess like Black Diamonds would be cool.
I think of skateboarding when I think of that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't think of Utah as like the coldest place in the world. That's like some of this stuff. I'm like, I don't know if if this was an Alaskan team, that would be sick.
What about the Utah Mammoth? That would be a cool.
Utah
mascot.
Mammoth, yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be a cool mascot.
That would be cool.
I like that. I think too. What would really cool about Utah, Bill, is that you get to, because obviously Colorado and Vegas are hot right now, and then you get to add into like that like trifecta rivalry there.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool. Hopefully they capitalize on that as well.
That would be. I would like to see that, just like Colorado have more of a natural rival right there. Like that would be pretty cool. Now I'm all for this. It sucks what happened to Arizona. It just seems like that thing was plagued by bad ownership for so long. I think it'll work. I think there is going to be a team in Arizona at some point in the near future.
So.
And with the right owner, it will work. But bad ownership kills you, man.
Dude,
it just kills you.
The fact that Austin Matthews has become the player that he has should tell you that sport works in that market. You just got to get better ownership.
No, you have to. There has to be an owner dedicated to spending money and winning.
Yes.
If you win anywhere, it works.
Oh my God!
Like
yeah.
the Florida Panthers have been a joke for how long, and now it's fine. Like,
do you think the Knights would have the love they have right now if they were bad? No.
There's a reason. Like the novelty of it. It was the first team. They didn't steal someone else's team, and it was an expansion. I think all that worked in their favor. But it's not the phenomenon that it is. Like one of the best grossing teams in the league, if they don't go to the Stanley Cup final right away. Like they already have a cup. You know, like you do have to win. That's the best way to bring in your fans is to freaking win. It's why I don't like when anyone's, oh man, there's Flyers fans, there's like no casuals. Like, yeah, of course, like it's only a bandwagon fan base. The team's been bad for a decade. Oh yeah, I can't wait to go to a Flyers game. Like they're probably gonna lose. Why would you? Like you just need to win. That's just how it goes. And hopefully that's the case in Utah, so it works there, and we're not having the same conversation with them in 3 years.
Yeah, what do you expect to see, guys? You've seen what we've dealt with over these past couple years. We dealt with Chuck Fletcher. You asked Philadelphia fans to deal with that.
What does really suck for the Arizona fans, like, this team is really well set up. Like, they're rebuilding. They have a lot of good young talent.
They do.
Like, they're set up, and now, like, they're not even going to get to see that come to fruition. Someone else, like, another fan base is going to get to enjoy
literally Quebec in Colorado.
Yeah. No, it's very much
sucks.
similar to that. Yes. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a shame for everyone involved. Before we get to some playoff stuff, I did have some F Around Friday stuff I wanted to do.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be Friday without some using the letter F wordplay. And I was like, what can we do today? And I was like, I want to talk about a couple of fast forwards.
Fast forwards.
And mostly Owen Tippett. Ryan Poehling factors in as well. I like the year Ryan Poehling have. I don't like it, I see him as being what he is.
Yeah.
Like if he's just this from now, cool. If there's something else there offensively, like John Tortorella seems to think there is, even though there's not a ton of evidence of that, cool. But mostly Owen Tippett, and just thinking about like what he's gonna be for this team moving forward. He's a guy we were hoping to see take a big step forward this year, and I don't know if we necessarily saw that. Now, 28 goals, like that's all well and good, and he's going to be judged on his goal total. We want to see that go up. But I'm looking at him and his skill set, and he's a big physical guy who's got a great shot, and he is insanely fast. I really think maybe the next step for him is the penalty kill.
Okay.
We saw, when Travis Konechny got moved to the PK, it was like, oh, that's an interesting idea. And then you look how it's worked out. Oh, he uses just his tenacity to get in passing lanes and to block shots, and suddenly, he's on breakaways and scores a ton of shorthanded goals. I think one way to add to Owen Tippett's goal total and get more out of him is to try him in this role. You use his speed, you use his size advantage to get in those passing lanes. He's up top, he's pressuring. If he gets his stick, I always think about like Mike Richards in that role.
Okay.
And it was like, go ahead, try a D-to-D pass. Try to go across and see what happens. If he gets his stick in the lane, it's a breakaway. Mm-hmm. Owen Tippett, if he gets his stick on a puck going east-west, whether it's point to point, whether it's going from the wall to the point, whatever it is, if he gets an interception, he's gone. Like it's very much the Asante Samuel style of defense. Might he get beat a little bit? Sure. But we're going to score a lot because of it, too. We're going to get extra possessions because of it, and we're going to get shorthanded goals because of it. And I really want to, I really see that as the next step for Tippett.
I'm curious if, because obviously, listen, your points are spot on, obviously, with that skill set, with that speed and that shot as well. But, does he have the willingness to risk the body on the line? That thing's Torts likes on that PK.
It is. When we look at his blocked shot totals this year, it wasn't. He wasn't near the top of the forward list. He was right in the middle. It's not like he had none, but I think he had 48 blocked shots or something at 5-on-5. And all right, it's like one every 2 games or something. It wasn't a ton, but I would have never thought of Travis Konechny as. He goes into the corners and stuff. He's feisty. I wouldn't think of him as necessarily a dude that you're putting out in defensive situations.
Yeah.
We're down a guy, and we're going to count on you to play some defense here. I would have never thought that, but I never would have thought that about Ilya Kovalchuk either. And then it was like he's so good that, when we're just going to use this skill set to get us shorthanded goals.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what they could do with Owen Tippett. Now, it's going to put maybe an extra burden on whoever the center is and the 2 defensemen. But this is a very good penalty kill. That's what we know about this PK, is that it's very good, and it should continue to get better as they add more talent, as the defense continues to grow. I think you can afford, for 38 seconds every penalty kill, let's see if Owen Tippett can go out there and get us one. It's just another weapon we could use. Yeah,
that was another big part of the power play kill last year, is that the fact that, excuse me, they were creating opportunities on that PK, which is obviously helping with keeping the opposing team's power play from getting opportunities. So it's definitely something to look at, because especially remember during that losing streak, that PK got cold a little bit.
Yes.
And it wasn't even just them scoring goals, because obviously when they were hot, when they were at their best, they were scoring goals on that PK, but they were, more importantly, they were allowing goals during that run of bad losses and bad games. So maybe in that type of situation, just kind of throw things and add a different wrinkle to the PK. Putting a guy like Owen Tippett, you can dump and chase and get those breakaways for him. I think it'd be a cool wrinkle to add into there.
When they lost Sean Walker, they lost some of that explosiveness. I know Scott Lawton didn't have a huge shorthanded goal year, but he and TK were a very dynamic duo. If they are to trade Scott Lawton, that's another piece of the explosive penalty kill you're taking away. I would not mind adding to it. Like Owen Tippett getting some more time shorthanded. Maybe there's some bumps and bruises, but like in a rebuild, that's the point. Like, let's see if he can do it now, and then by the time we're good, he's a weapon at this thing, the way you turn Travis Konechny into a shorthanded weapon. Like, there's some rumors about trading TK. All right, well, now everyone's gone. Like, everyone who made the penalty kill dangerous is now gone. It was Sean Walker, Scott Lawton, TK. I expect one of those two guys traded, and one of them already has been. Like, I enjoy a good penalty kill that can score on its own. It's what made the Mike Richards era of the Flyers so damn entertaining. They had a badass penalty kill. I want to continue that even if we lose some of these guys. I think Tippett is one of the best possibilities in this role.
That was one of the fun parts of last year, is that it was that PK. It was when that run or in the middle of the season when they were scoring those goals. That was a lot of fun to watch, Bill. And they were blocking shots. Like it was tough nose stuff that you're watching.
It was a lot of fun watching the penalty kill for a lot this year. And I want to keep that going, even if they lose some of these dudes. We're going to talk about the playoffs in a second. And if you want to bet on these Stanley Cup playoffs, best place to do it is with the Bet Park Sportsbook app. I know I've had a few different takes on the possible Conn Smythe winner. I don't know how you're not looking at Igor Shesterkin right now. My God, I mean, 3-0. They're up 3-0 on Carolina. They're going to go to the East Final, and in all likelihood, they're going to be in the Eastern Conference Final. Maybe it's them and the Panthers. Could be a real goalie showdown there with him and Bob, but I always like to target the goalies because, like Reggie Leach did it, but for the most part, it's goalies who have a chance to win the Conn Smythe, even if their team loses. Hextall's done it. J.S. Jaguar's done it. We've seen it before. Shesterkin, Swayman, I think these guys have that sort of possibility right now. And so those are the guys I'm targeting at the Bet Park Sportsbook app in the Conn Smythe market. And you can get in the zone with Bet Park Sportsbook app because money is in the moments. Events coming up, man. You know about these Stanley Cup playoffs, but we also have baseball every day, the NBA playoffs. There's all sorts of events to bet on. And you can win. If you win your first $10 bet, you can earn $125 in sports bonus bets. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Download the app and play along with us. Must be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Like the other thing that has come up lately is the Rod Brind'Amour conversation. Like I said, they're down.
Brindy.
Carolina is down 3-0 to the Rangers. At a certain point, doesn't Brind'Amour need to take the blame for this stuff? Like,
dude, it's bad.
His playoff, I just had it in front of me.
Dude, he's had way too many sweeps than he should have. That's for sure. In the playoffs.
Like his playoff history, yes, they get there every year under him. But they lose in the conference finals, lose first round, lose second round, lose second round, lose conference finals. Right now they're in the second round. They're down 3-0. Like I heard you guys messing around with the press conference from last year when they got swept, and he's saying, we didn't get swept. I know what he's trying to say there. Like every game was a 1-goal game. I think maybe 3 of them went to overtime. I get what you're saying.
It's a Dom Toretto thing, though.
But, like, you lost 4.
Exactly.
You played 4. You lost them all. You did get swept. And, like, I get maybe they don't have the top-end talent that some of these other teams do, but his whole thing is, like, he agrees with the organizational philosophy of going with the analytics, of the shot heavy, like a heavy shot volume and winning the shot battle and all that. Like, that's their thing. And they did go out and get Jake Gensel. They did go out and get Evgeny Kuznetsov, who, he's up and down, and he was scratched when I think the last game. And, it makes sense. Like, there's a reason Washington was like, yes, we need to get rid of this guy. He's a good offensive player. He's also pretty inconsistent. We know about the issues he's had. But whatever it is, like, I don't know, man. They seem pretty loaded up this year. They shouldn't be getting swept.
No.
Like, you should beat the Rangers once or twice. I know the Rangers are good. Like, they're a legit cup contender. You're supposed to be 2, though.
It just feels like the Rangers have a little bit of a mental edge on Carolina. Like Carolina, they got the first goal last night, and then the Rangers kind of just took over from there. The classic scene last night, though, Bill, is our old boy Tony D. He literally, both teams are at the bench, right? And Tony D just drops the gloves, hoping someone would fight with him. And no one was like, Tony, we're good. We're just gonna go win. We're gonna go win.
It is like the funny, like I love the star versus star, like Makachuk and Pasta the other day.
Oh,
like that's
awesome,
a great
dude.
star versus star fight. If I'm on the Rangers bench and we're up 2-0 in the series already, I'm like, I'm not fighting Tony D'Angelo. I want him on the ice. Yeah. Go out there and make some turnovers, Tony. Like, I'm not taking you off the ice for 5 minutes. And like Carolina is missing Brett Pesce. Like, they do miss some guy, but you can't have these excuses. Also, you're the one team that believes in Tony D'Angelo. This is his second time with you.
Right.
You think he can play for you. But like, I just don't get what's going on in Carolina. At a certain point, I think Brind'Amour has to take some heat for this. But if he does, he's going to be... Do you think maybe we haven't heard, like, oh, yeah, it's Berube in Toronto. They just gave him however many million because they want to see how this thing plays out. Like, if his contract really does run out in Carolina... People love Rod Brind'Amour. They think he's one of, despite his lack of postseason success, they believe him to be one of the best coaches in the league. People think if he were to hit the open market, he would be the highest paid coach. It's going to be very interesting to see how teams pursue him.
Maybe Carolina,
if they get swept.
Maybe Carolina's ownership is up to something. Maybe they do see something in Rod Brind'Amour. But listen, you're right, Bill. If he becomes a free agent in coaching senses, I mean, we talked about Seattle before. Like, there's teams that are going to throw that money out there. The thing is that, number one, this league, it's the number one in retreading the coaches, right? Like, these coaches flip around to different teams. Like,
and sometimes it works. Look at Peter Laviolette.
Yeah.
Like, listen, it's working in New York right now. It can work.
Yeah. And so I definitely see Brindy just getting another job. But, man, he has to, at some point, take a look himself in the mirror because these playoff losses are starting to accumulate here, man.
And just the way they go down so spectacularly, like in sweeps, in short series, like I get, like, maybe New York is the better team.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the excuse I make for the Flyers in their last few playoffs where they always lose in 6. Like, yeah, the Rangers series, they went 7. They go down in 6 to Washington, to Pittsburgh. Like, okay, well, they were never favored. Like, what the hell did you want? It's like, I don't know, man. Upsets happen. Like, upsets do happen. Like, beat a team better than you.
Our guy Torts did it back in 2019.
Like, it happens. Exactly. Like, some of the best regular season teams ever go down in the first round. We saw it last year with Boston and Florida. Like, I don't know. I would take Rod Brind'Amour in a second. I don't know how much of that is just because he's like the one that got away. Like, he always should have been a Flyer. The fact that he got to lift the cup wearing a C and it's with them. Like, God damn it, really? And now he's their coach. It's like, that could have always been us, you know? And
of course.
Maybe it's just kind of that bleeding through. I would take him in a second, but also, at a certain point, it's your fault, man. Like, you've been coaching the same team this whole time. Get to a cup final. Not even win it. Like, get there. Say what you want about Peter Laviolette. He has the short shelf life. He does tend to win a lot of these things.
He does, man. Like, everywhere he goes, they make the playoffs. They're contending.
He gets to a cup final. Like, he won with Carolina. He got there with the Flyers. He got there with Nashville. Like, it's hard to argue with that sort of track record versus... Yeah, we've almost been there a few times in Carolina. Like, I don't know, man. Eventually, it's on you.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. But I mean, we'll see what happens with this team. But they look dead, man. Especially you're down. Like, the thing is like you're talking an 0-2 series, and you're going back home, and then you lose Game 3. Like, it's tough to come back out here
because you can always say, "Well, we haven't lost at home yet. All we need to do is win our home games and then steal a Game 7, whatever it might be." Now, you need to sweep them. Now you need to pull off the reverse sweep. And listen, Peter Laviolette's been a part of one of those, but on the other end.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I just don't see a world in which Carolina wins 4 straight against Igor's. Just like, it would take Shesterkin getting hurt for that to happen. And John Quick's been awesome this year.
That's wild.
He's been really, really good. I thought it was over, man. Like, it looked over for Quick, and worked with the goalie coach, and then suddenly, like, shit, he might be their MVP. They win the President's Trophy, and it's like, Shesterkin sucked to start this season. It was John Quick keeping them afloat for the first part of this year. I'll just imagine having that kind of goaltending.
I mean, he's the reason why I say I want this team, the Flyers, to get a veteran goalie because of that reason. Like, because when your top guy is going through a little bit of a slump, you just plug in that veteran player for a couple games and then just go back to your youngster.
I'll tell you, I am switching gears in the playoffs a little bit. I always kind of root for Colorado. I like their jerseys. I like the players on their team. Going back in the day, when they're brawling with Detroit, I fucking loved that.
That was awesome.
And Detroit swept the Flyers, so I'm like, yeah, go Colorado. Peter Forsberg was the man, loved him.
Of course.
I was very happy Dallas tied this thing up because I want as many games of these two teams as humanly possible.
Man. A lot of goals. A lot of goals in this playoffs in general. We talk about how important the goalie is, but dude, these playoffs, every game, it's like 4-3, 6-4.
It's especially Dallas and Colorado just have this ability to put it on you. We've seen these games aren't over when they're if you're betting the under in these games, that's a hell of a sweat. Also, you're probably going to lose.
I know.
I just think this is the offensive talent is such that it doesn't matter how good a goalie is.
Yeah.
Swayman's awesome, Shesterkin's awesome. When some of these guys run into some of these West teams, it's going to be I think it's going to, it doesn't matter how good you are, they're going to score.
How about the Jamie Benn hit?
I'll tell you, maybe it's a 2-minute minor. I didn't think it was I'm glad they called the major so that they could review it. I think it's more unfortunate than anything. One, you got to get your head up.
Okay.
You got to get your head up. And two, if he doesn't get sandwiched into Robertson, I think it was Robertson on the back end, whoever it was, maybe it was Wyatt Johnson, I don't remember. If he doesn't get sandwiched, it's not that bad. It's kind of just the result after the hit. I didn't think it was that bad. It's a hard hit. It's a violent hit. I don't know if it was an illegal hit.
I mean, I've never played professional hockey, but that's a good point you bring up because they always tell you even in any contact sport or physical sport like this, you want to always keep your head up. And Taze's head was completely down.
And sometimes you have to look down, and that leaves you in a vulnerable situation, and bad shit can happen like that. But yeah, it's a contact sport, man. Sometimes you get hurt.
Jamie Benn, big guy. He's a big guy.
He's a fucking beast. Jamie Benn is the size of a house. He is not looking to poke check you.
No.
You just kind of have to know this. And I'm happy Taves came back.
Right.
I love the big hits. I love the violence of hockey. It's what turned me on to hockey when I was a little kid. But I don't want to see people get hurt. That sucks. I want to see the best players. Devon Taves is one of the guys who's going to help determine the outcome of this series. I want him on the ice. But dudes get rocked sometimes. But I think you saw it perfectly in the missed Trouba hit.
Yeah.
Dog, this is the playoffs. Ain't no one pulling up. No one's worried about your safety. He's sitting there throwing the fucking AJ Styles phenomenal forearm. And luckily, I think, what was it? Slavin had the whereabout to duck, or maybe it was Natchez. I'm horrible with identifying players right now. Yeah, it was Natchez. He had he saw it coming and fucking ducked. I'm not going to take a flying elbow to the head right now. I'm going to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And he did, and everything was good. Get your head up, man. Listen, I was the biggest Lindros fan in the world. I think part of the problem was stick technology at the time. A guy that big just could not feel the puck on a wooden stick. I told this story the other day. I saw Chara playing in the AHL, and the exact same shit happened to him. He's coming across the blue line with his head down, and John Druce was like, fuck you, and knocked him out cold. It took multiple dudes to get Chara off the ice. Because at that size, you can't feel the puck. Now, all of a sudden, we have these sticks that are light as a feather, and they're hollow, and you can feel the puck. You can look up. You got to get your head up. Bad shit's going to happen if you don't. Whether it's dirty or not, it's a this is the playoffs. They're not looking to help you out.
Scott Stevens made a career off that, man.
Yeah.
I still see Paul Correa's foggy visor right now.
And it's it's one of the highlights of Paul Correa's career because he came back. This is the shit that happens in the playoffs. If you're not ready for it, you're going to get caught.
Yeah. Hopefully our Flyers are ready for this.
And that's one of the things that hopefully John Tortorella is imparting on them. It is a war. You are going to get hurt. You are going to get hit very hard. You have to learn to play through all of that. It's part of the reason they're doing what they're doing. It's another reason I believe that this could work. Me, personally, if I was rebuilding, I'd say we're trading everyone. We're trying to get like top three picks. But that's not what they're doing. It could work because John Tortorella believes I can teach dudes to play this way.
Yeah.
It looks like some guys in the playoffs need to be taught to play this way. You know, guys on Toronto. Specifically. Maybe we can try to steal them. But that's pretty much all the time we have for you today. I got to tell you, though, man, F around Friday. I'm going to F around with some Coors Lights soon. Basically, as soon as I get out of here. Maybe it's only 2 p.m., but it's been a long work week for everybody. We got Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. We got NBA playoffs tonight. We got the Phil's watch party tonight.
That's right.
We got so much going on. If you're not checking out Manny Young Brewing tonight, which you should, but if you're not, you're going to stay home. I suggest you chill with some ice-cold Coors Lights because there's no better way to chill than with an ice-cold Coors Light. So whether you're freaking out about the playoffs, NBA or NHL, about the starting pitching, the bullpen, whatever it is, you need to find the Blue Mountains in your fridge and enjoy a beer as cold as the Rockies. Because when everything surrounding your favorite hockey team is on fire, sometimes you just gotta chill. When you choose to rise above it all, choose chill, choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/PHLY hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. What are we doing tonight, JP? We going down to Manayunk?
Yeah, so I'll be there. I'll be helping running the event there. They'll be doing, they'll do the watch along. So PHLY Phillies will do the watch along. They'll do the post game show. But I'll be hanging around, be talking to people. So if you guys have nothing to do, come hang out, grab a beer. And watch the Phils. We're playing the Marlins. So I don't know. Like, listen, the Marlins are different this year, but it's always pesky playing those guys.
The Marlins are a pain in the ass. They have been for as long as I've been cognizant of baseball. Just a pain in the ass. But Phils are the best team in the league. So
that's right.
Hopefully they get it done.
Them.
Hopefully they get it done for the PHLY faithful tonight. That is all the time we have for you on this Friday edition of PHLY Flyers. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back on Monday at 1. That's right. I love this summer schedule. But until then, my name is Bill Matz. That is JP Zapata. Stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.